Welcome back to the Cordless Vacuum Guide, and in this video, we'll look at Yeedi's latest product, the Mop Station Pro. Its first self-washing robot mop. I've tested a bunch of these before, and Yeedi's version is the cheapest by far. It has the same massive base station, housing the clean and dirty water tanks. But compared to other brands I've tested, it isn't as massive. But the downside is the smaller 3.5-liter water tanks. We'll look at in a bit when I discuss the features in detail. How does this product compare to its more expensive counterparts? I put it through a grueling series of tests on different aspects like navigation, cleaning performance, mopping, and much more, so let's get into it. To start off, let's quickly go through the features. The Yeedi Mop Station Pro is similar to other self-washing robots like the Dreamy W10 Pro and the Narwhal T10, in that it has two spinning discs for agitating and mopping stains on hard floors. What sets self-washing robots apart from the traditional robot mop hybrid is the pad washing feature that cleans it afterward. So this process is automated, and there is no need to remove the pad after every mopping cycle. One difference with Yeedi is that it comes with two dustbin containers, one for vacuuming and mopping, and another for strictly vacuuming. I initially thought that this container was a water tank because the app provides water level controls. But if you look closely, it's not, and you can see the wiring and motor through the transparent case, meaning there's no space for liquid. Underneath, you can see two hexagon slots where you place the two rotating discs. These are magnetized, so it sticks in place securely. Yeedi also includes two extra pads as a backup if you need to wash the dirty ones by hand. There's also this brush for cleaning the dirty water tank, but I rarely use it for these robot mops unless it's filthy. What I do is rinse the dirty water tank using this sprayer, and it's enough to dislodge debris on the inner walls. It's an extra step, but it keeps odor from building up. Another potential use for this brush is cleaning the self-washing component in the base station. This is where the pads rub against to self-clean. One feature missing from the mop station is the detachable tray. If you look closely at it, the scrubbing mechanism is fused on the base station, so it will be more tricky to clean. The second container is the dedicated dry dustbin for vacuum-only jobs. It has a massive capacity of 750 milliliters, the largest of the self-washing options I've tested. And this volume is a necessity because the mop station doesn't have a self-emptying feature. The base station only has space for two water tanks, each with a capacity of 3.5 liters, smaller than the other models I've reviewed. But the difference isn't that significant, less than a liter, helping reduce the total weight of the base station in case you need to move it around. The dirty water tank has a floater that triggers a sensor in the base station to notify consumers when it's full through the app. The rear placement of the pads enables this to function as a hybrid, meaning it can vacuum and mop simultaneously. One difference between the mop station and other Yeedi variants is it has a narrower brush row and weaker airflow. Also, the brush placement is slightly behind the side wheels, whereas other Yeedi robot vacuums have it slightly in front. This relocation doesn't affect cleaning performance, but the narrower brush roll and lower airflow does, especially on carpet. Another change is the dustbin placement. Yeedi moved it from the top in the other models to behind the robot. This change brings some usability quirks. So when the robot is docked and you'll need to empty the dustbin or remove the pads, you'll need to pull the robot out, which is an extra step versus top-mounted dustbins. The mop station retains the same interface as older variants with a single button layout and top-mounted camera. You'll have to download the Yeedi app to access all the functionality, which we'll look at later. There are 3 buttons in front of the base station for these functions. The self-cleaning feature is a necessity because this robot doesn't have a detachable tray. When you push this button,
starting self-cleaning, please.
The robot comes out and the pad cleaning tray is filled with water. Then after around 30 seconds, it picks up the excess Then the voice prompt informs you that the self-cleaning is complete.
Self-cleaning complete.
You'll need to push the home button so the robot goes back to the base station. Next, we'll look at the things I like, and the biggest pro is its efficiency at mopping stains. I tested it on red wine and grape juice stains, and it didn't have any issues removing these tough-to-clean messes. Robots without an agitating system will stall, especially with sticky grape juice stains, but this robot did not. It removed most of it after the first pass and did not stall. One thing to note is that the mop station will not pick up liquid. It functions like a traditional mop. So it relies on the stains sticking on the cloth and a self-washing feature removing the residue from it. Don't expect it to leave a squeaky clean surface. It will leave droplets of water. That's an issue with glossy surfaces, but not so much on matte surfaces. Another thing I like is the extra large dustbin with a 750 ml capacity, and the opening is huge, making dirt disposal straightforward. Also, the mesh filter was excellent at keeping dust from clogging the primary filter prematurely. After the torture tests, here's how it looks, and you can barely see any dust and accumulation in the folds. One advantage of the low airflow is the low noise levels. The mop station ranged between 59 decibels and 69 decibels, and you can barely hear it when it mops, only the squeaking sound of the pad spinning. The next pro is the hard floor cleaning performance, which is above average for a robot mop. It picked up a good percentage, and it wasn't far off high airflow options like the dreamy W10 Pro and the Roborock S7 Max V Ultra on surface debris. You can use it to vacuum and mop simultaneously because of the brush and pad placement. It is decent on carpet, at least with surface debris, but don't expect too much from it with cleaning embedded dirt. This brings me to the things I don't like, starting with its deep cleaning performance. You could see the low airflow at play in the subpar deep cleaning score, as it doesn't have enough to pick up embedded debris on carpet. And while it has a carpet sensor, which helps fit inside homes with large area rugs, I wouldn't recommend this for cleaning such because it's designed primarily for cleaning hard floors with the spinning discs. Plus, the lack of a self-emptying feature means you'll need to dispose the contents manually. Don't expect this robot to pick up hair. I tried it on 5-inch strands and it barely picked up anything, so I didn't bother doing a 7-inch test. You can see how much hair wrapped on the brush and even some wedged on the base plate. Even during the mopping and navigation tests, this much hair accumulated on the brush and side brush. Not having a detachable tray makes cleaning a bit tricky. One method I use is using a paper towel to wipe the excess residue. You could also press this button on the base station so it floods water in this area, then drains it out afterward. I'd recommend scrubbing the area with a brush to help flush out debris. Lastly, it can only save one map level. Yeedi told me that an update will come out soon that enables it to save multiple maps. But that's not the case with the mop station, so only time will tell when an upgrade will come. But as of this recording, it is not available. The Yeedi app is easy to use with its simple interface. Installation is straightforward, just follow the steps shown in the app. One difference with the Yeedi app is you'll need to scan the QR code on the robot during the initial setup. The app then generates another QR code the robot camera needs to scan to complete the pairing process. This is the trickiest step for me that I needed to do several times before the robot successfully scanned it. The app will prompt you to do a mapping run, but unfortunately, Yeedi's mapping run won't be as efficient as a laser-equipped robot since it uses camera. It still needs to go through every nook and cranny to create an accurate view of it, which will take the same time as a standard vacuuming run. After the mapping run, consumers can save the map, add partitions, and name rooms. But unfortunately, custom room naming isn't available. You can only choose what's available in the list. The app is pretty good at determining partitions as long as doors are present, but it's still a time saver. Map saving also unlocks containment, and the Yeedi app supports virtual boundaries, which is similar to no-go zones. Consumers can draw boxes to block off-limit areas, but there's no invisible wall feature, so you cannot block diagonal lines, limiting its functionality. The Mop Station is the only V-Slam robot with a live map that I've tested, and it's extremely useful at monitoring the robot's location during the cleaning cycle. The Yeedi app also has these prompts that reminds consumers not to forget essential tasks like emptying the dirty water tank, which is a nice touch. Scheduling is available for those who want to automate the vacuuming and mopping chores. However, this robot isn't fully autonomous because it lacks a self-emptying feature. Overall, the Yeedi Mop Station Pro is an excellent alternative to more expensive options like the dreamy W10 Pro or the Roborock S7 Max V Ultra if you don't want to spend as much. But it won't vacuum as well, especially on carpet, or clean hair efficiently. However, the price difference is a compelling selling point because the mopping performance is virtually identical, and if this is a deciding factor, then the Mop Station Pro would be a good option to consider if you don't mind its limitations. If you've made it this far, I'd like to say thank you and consider giving this video a thumbs up if it's been helpful to you. It goes a long way in reaching more consumers and growing this channel. Subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified when I publish new reviews like this, including the comparison between the self-washing robots I recently reviewed. Links are in the description below for more information about the Yeedi Mop Station Pro. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.